Right, we'll roll on to articulation, and as you can see straight off the bat, I haven't really reposed them. For the simple reason is I'm going to do you a demonstration on the arms because it is the thing on the figure that you'd probably most want to know. I'll just cover firstly the basics of the articulation and say the do's and don'ts aside from the arms, and then I'll get a cameraman, Callum, if he's strong enough to hold my camera for more than 30 seconds, and then I'll give you the scores. Right, so starting at the bottom, like I said, the ankle articulation is really good because of the split between the shin guard and the foot. That's same on both versions. Moving up, the double bend knee works really well because the trousers don't bother the articulation. You can get a split on both of them, really wide open split, and the legs do go forward and back really well. Good twist and turn, so no hindrance in the articulation there. As you get up into the waist section, there is rotation, although it would be limited because of the build-up of the plastic sort of in this area here. So it will pose, it will move. I'll try and get some poses to show that it will be here. You can get something quite dynamic out of it, but you're not going to go mental. Like I said, the ab crunch, I don't know if the body would do it, but because of the hard chest plate, it's restricted. So that's a no-no. It is a sculpted neck into a head, ball joint at the top, so the neck articulation is slightly hindered there. The other thing is the air, obviously. You're not going to be able to move it too much because you're going to be pushing against the sculpted air. So there is that. Moving down, I will also mention the hands. Because of sort of the gauntlet cuts down into the hand, you've got to be careful how you position the hand, and it does hinder the sort of rotation of the hands because you would have to push that up to turn the hand fully. Like, if you look on that one, you can see the hand peg. Really, I wouldn't want to pose it like that. I'd want to push that right down over the hand peg, but then obviously you're limited as to where you can put the hand, so that would be a limitation as well. So, the bit I guess you came for, how do the arms work? Let me get my man in and I'll talk you through both versions. Right, now, I'm going to ask you a question in your mind. I want you to answer it if you can. Which one do you think's got the best articulated arms? This is basically a normal arm covered with a soft sculpted armour. This one is rubberized arms with no elbow joint, but a joint at the shoulders. Go on, think about it, and which one would you say would be the best articulated? Right, now I'm going to predict that you all got that wrong because you probably think that this one is the best articulated, and that is not the case. On the arms, I've gone through the instructions because I thought, is that only as articulated as it gets? So let's show you, and this is going on the instructions. So you can go forward to there, you can go back to there, bring it back down to central. Can you hear the clicks? I'll do it again. It's on like a ratchet on the shoulder, listen. So that's that. I will say it is an improvement over the Avengers version because you don't get no ruck up in these areas here where the suit's moving and twisting out of position. The material or the armour is sort of that fitted to the arm, it stays in place all the time, which is a really good touch. The downside is this. That's as straight as the arm will go. And again, it's got a ratchet effect. So you get 1 click, 2 click, 3 click. That is it. That is the only bend on the arm on that one. That is as far as it goes. Now, the brochure tells you, just make sure on that, yep. The brochure tells you, don't try to turn it outwards, so I'm not gonna. What I am gonna do is, it says it will turn inwards to 70 degrees. Now, I think that is it, which is not a lot, and obviously that once you've turned inwards you can't then go up and down, so that is the limitation. Turn that back out. Like I say, you've got about 3-4 clicks from fully straight to fully bent on that one. So it's not the suit that's hindering it, it's the body underneath for me, because the armour is supple enough to move more. But whatever arms they've used underneath, there's something I've never seen before, because like I said, the ratchet on the shoulders. I do like the ratchet as well, because on my old version of Thor, the arm would always come down with weight of hammer. With this one done, the ratchet holds it. So it's all ratcheted, which I like. Right, so now I've just basically told you that this version has got better articulation, arms wise. That is the case, so we'll get it down. I will say the material on it it's softer than Leonidas, although it's getting nice and close so we can see these veins. See veins, you see freckles, you can see the definition. He's got big looking triceps, biceps are long. So, really nice. Right, so let's have a look what this one will do. I don't want to go all Sean Long here. It'll come all the way out to there. It'll go down. There is sort of a slight lift and drop on the shoulders. It will go forward. No ratchet on this one. We'll come forward to there, and it'll go back to only there. Now, the improvement is here. That is the bend on the elbow on that one, which really pleases me, because I bought these to sell one of the versions, and I was thinking that because of the articulation, I would have got rid of this one, because I would have wanted to pose the one in the armour. Now I've seen them, I favour this one, and the fact that it's got better articulation really pleases me. So, one thing you would have to watch out for, if you wanted to pose it like that, see if you can get down into that elbow joint, Cal, down in here. You can see a ruck up of material here, sort of the soft rubber, and then when you pull it out, for a small amount of time, you might get a little crease in there. I would think, don't leave it in a bent arm pose for too long, because you're not going to want to give it a chance to crack or mark up to the point where it won't pop back out. Another thing I will show you, if I pull out the hand, if you look into that where the wrist peg goes, inside there's a metal frame, and I wonder if that metal frame runs up all the way through the arm. If that's the case, then that should keep your articulation really nice and tight. So, now his gauntlets fell off. So I think that, just pass me camera, Cal. Cheers, buddy. I think that pretty much explains the articulation. It shouldn't leave you wondering anything. To score them up, I'm going to give... They've both got restrictions, obviously, because of the armour on them, along the body and the neck and everything. But because the arms are better on the light armoured version is going to get a 4 out of 5. The armoured version, although it is an improvement on all the other Thor figures, I can only give it a 3 out of 5 because that arm doesn't bend enough for how I would want it to. Right guys, rolling on to extras. In fact, I think I'll do extras and value both together and then probably sum it up. Simply because I don't want to run too far over time and make it like a video that's 20 minutes then like a 7-minute next part sort of thing. So I want to keep it in one part. I know I've not done too many extreme poses, but if you go back and watch my Avengers version of Thor, see all the poses I did in that, then these guys will do that sort of thing, if that makes any sense. So they're the poses I could have got, but for time and also because I don't want to mess about posing two figures, it'd take me all fucking night, so I ain't gone too extreme, but I've tried to cover everything I think you might want to know. Right, extras, what do they bring? Right, the regular version brings what you see in front of you, obviously the figure with the hammer. The hammer is same on both versions. This one has a generic Octo stand with Thor the Dark World Thor on the nameplate, so it does come with that. It comes with the instruction manual. I would read it in this situation because you don't want to fuck your arms up, because try and get some replacement arms for this is going to be a fucking nightmare on Elm Street. So don't bother trying to start posing it without reading the instructions. I've actually read both instructions because I don't want to fuck these up. Moving down. Now, it does have the large base, what you would put underneath the stand. It is just a cardboard sort of flat, sort of, I don't know, a placemat, so to speak. And it does represent when it comes through the... when he travels through time or from one galaxy to another, this is the print that's left on the floor where he would appear. I forgot the name of the fucking thing. Is it Bifrost? When he comes through Bifrost, I think, this is the mark it leaves on the floor. So it gets now. I would think it looks pretty nice, but then again, I don't know. I don't know if I would rank it too highly as far as extras go. I think most people will probably put it in the box and never use it. It is just 3 parts. You put the centerpiece in, then it's got 2 surround to make it bigger. I didn't do it because obviously I've got the steps in this cabinet and it wouldn't have left me enough ground space to put it down. So, but it is there. We get a set of amp pegs. We get a set of spread arms, spread hands, sort of, I don't know what you want to call them, power hands or whatever. If you were levitating, you might want to use those. Get the relaxed hands, which always come, and I don't know if I'd ever use them, but they are there. And then you get a set of fists, which is a really nice tight fist for Thor. I do like that because it does convey power. And then you have a right and left hammer holding hand, which again are nice. Really well painted and sculpted. Now, like I said before, because of the shape of the gauntlet, be careful that you're not turning your hands and pulling off the paint. You might want to be careful with them because, like I said, the gauntlet has sort of got a cutaway section and the hand fits snugly into it, sort of thing. So yeah, the other thing you get, I thought these were to put on sort of the cloak, but they're not. They're just spare ones in case you snap off the ones that are on. It's just a replacement set, and then you get a tool that sort of slides down the back of the ones on, and then you prise them off. I will say they are a really, really tight fit because I've just took off the cape on the light armor version, and it were a little bit squeaky bum time sort of thing. So I'm thinking I'm going to snap them bitches. Like I said, there is a spare set. Also, that version does come with the black cloak. Like I said before, it is in the underside of the lid, so you do get that as well, which is pretty nice. It is okay array of extras, I suppose, because of the extra cloak and I suppose the surround. I bumped it up a little bit, not massively if I'm honest, because it's not a spare outfit and it's not a spare head, and you can't class that as a dynamic base, so to speak, or whatever. So on that, I'm only going to give the extras a... oh, fuck. I'm going to say it like this. Because this one brings something I wish this one brings, I'm still going to give that a 4 out of 5. I think another head sculpt would have bumped it up. Or if you could have had interchangeable arms so that you would have only had to buy one version, then I'd have bumped it up again, but you didn't. So, as it stands, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, which is pretty good. Moving on to this version, obviously, you get the bare arms with the no joints, which is really nice, and I hope they do use them arms on the next Hawkeye if they bring one out, or a Rocky figure or whatever, because they are really well done. The only other arms I've seen like that is the full body of the Rambo figures, the Rocky figures, the Leonidas, and then the arms on the Enter Bay Bruce Lee, the behind the scenes version. And I think on this one, they've sort of got the functionality right, but they've also got the aesthetic, which I'm buzzing about because I think it works really well. Right, obviously the cloak, the hammer. This one you do get a dynamic base or a diorama base, and it is sort of the cracked ground where Thor's landed or he's just hit the hammer. Nice touch, although there's not enough flat sections really to put his foot anywhere, so you would have to have him sort of hovering above it on the wire dynamic stand. It does have the silver nameplate on the front. It is nice. It is what it is. It's just quickly painted. We've seen these bases before on a lot of other figures. They are what they are. Don't expect the world and you'll not be disappointed, but it is a nice touch. We do get the weathered cape, like I said. The framework to the cape is actually inside there, inside the cape. They're the nipples that stick into his chest. Like I said, he does also have a spare set. He's got the instruction manual. Now, what did I wish more than anything this one had? Just the fucking generic stand, really. If not for another head sculpt, then throw in a generic stand as well. Because sometimes you might want to pose that inside a DTOF cabinet and you know that base is taking up one place, so you've only got one. Same with the Superman and Zod. They've got the massive diorama bases, but you can't get them side by side because of space. And they're okay if you want them flying, but try and bend that into a position where it will have them stood up, and it just looks very awkward. So I do like the dynamic stands, don't get me wrong, but I also like the generic Hot Toys stand as well as an option. So I've given them both 4 out of 5 on extras. So leading straight on from extras into value. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I pay for this because that's between me and Anthony. And also, I will say I paid a combined price, so I don't know how much he charged me for that one and how much he charged me for that one. I couldn't separate because he gave me an all-round price. But what I'm going to say is, the price I saw him on eBay for, this one, day release, we're going for about £186, I think. But this one, we're already going for about £235. So I'm going to class it as a £50 difference. Is there a £50 difference there? The box is slightly better. You get the diorama base, but this one brings this. They both bring the cloak. They bring exactly the same hands, exactly the same head sculpt. It's a funny one because it's a lot of money for either way. £185 for that, for me, is about £40 overpriced. And that one again, £235, again, that is about £40 or £50 overpriced for me. I know that's the collectible one, that's probably the one everybody wants, but these prices, I know they're early release prices, and I think if you buy from Sideshow, there's no difference at all. So, but I've got to score it as I see it, sort of thing. I would say, if that's the case, and you're paying £185 for that, then I'm only going to give the value a 3 out of 5 because it don't bring enough stuff to be an £185 figure. And also, if that's the case that that's £235, then I'm only giving that a 2 out of 5 because, again, it's not a £235 figure. Neither are. I'm not saying that's what I paid because, like I said, that's between me and Anthony. But I don't know. I think if you wanted them, even now, I don't think you're going to get them at that price unless you pre-order from somewhere and wait. So that is my honest thoughts on the value. Both, you're not getting value for money on either if you're buying new release stock, but that is the option you take. I will on top of that say I think you'll be happy with whichever version because that is a definite improvement on the standard Thor. This one, if you want to stretch yourself and sort of push your centre, the one to have, I've got to probably be honest and say that would be the one to have. And also, I would think that it's going to cost you £50 more on the front end, but you're probably going to make that £50 back on the back end when you do sell it on in a year's time when the fucking Avengers 2 version of Thor comes out. So it's all relative. I hope that makes sense to you. So let's sum this bitch up. The regular version I've given a 26 out of a possible 35, which is a really respectable score for basically a Marvel figure. And the light armoured version, because of the slight improvements, has got a 28 out of a possible 35, which again is a really respectable score. I'll breathe now. I hope that's a conclusive review. I hope that's the review you're hoping for. I think you're probably going to look at it and think, I wish you'd have done a few more poses. I know, I sort of feel that myself, but when I take into account time I've got to put in to do that, I think this one, the selling point to this review, I think, is the fact I've reviewed both together. So I hope you appreciate that. Right, and I will say massive thank you again to Anthony. I hope I can deal with you for a long time, brother, and I hope that people see my videos will bring other traders to you, and you can make yourself a little bit of money out of it as long as your service stays the same and your prices don't get mental like some of the eBay sellers. I think people will be happy to buy from you. And I will also say I did buy both these to see them, review them and sell one. If I were to sell one, I've got to be honest and say it would be the regular version. So anybody looking for that version and want to have it by end of this week, talk to me. Obviously it's new release stock, so you know round about how much I'm going to want for it. I don't mind being fucking bummed a little bit when I'm trying to sell on me Avengers because they come out last year. If you want to buy this figure from me as of now, sort of best price that comes to me gets it. And like I said, it'll be shipped as soon as you pay me and you'll have it the day after. So bear that in mind. But like I said, don't come and be saying I'll give you 150 for it, because I'll be saying no you won't, I'll see you later. So let's be realistic. But for now, this is Clipper King Brothers. I hope you've enjoyed that review. If so, please like it, subscribe, comment. For now, I'm out of here.